I was from the hotel management background. I worked in healthcare BPO. But within a year, I was able to understand market is not going to be an easy job. From 1 lakh, my portfolio size went to 10 lakh. During the Satyam Saga and the Lehman crisis, the portfolio crashed almost to 1 lakh. Even the experienced players will have all these problems. Even after several years of trading, they all go through that. So NSE old portal used to provide like a 3-minute delay data. Scalping is easy. Many people think that there are traders who buy options and hold it for months together. There are traders who sell options and hold it for months together. Two favorite strategies which I normally use is if you lost your money, forget about it.
Our guest today has come all the way from Bangalore to engage with us. Mr. Sivakumar Jaychandran, an ace scalper and one of the few traders who have generated consistent returns using options trading. He is also an entrepreneur who has two great products called OI Pulse and One Click. So let's get started and get some insights on how he started his trading journey and what followed. So hi Shiva, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. We are very thrilled to have you here at the headquarters of Upsurge, all the way from Bangalore. So we were just talking a few minutes back about your experience as a trader, which is more than 15 years. So could you just tell us how your career trajectory has been and how did you get into trading?
Okay, so it's an interesting story. So to start with trading, I started way back in 2007 as an investor. Though I was from the hotel management background, I worked in healthcare BPO prior to this. And in the healthcare BPO, you always look for a passive income. When you subordinate and the team members, when they earn money and they like can come in a fancy car, and you and your wife, like we both were working, and unfortunately, we were not maybe able to. We used to come in bike. I used to ask him, "How come you are able to come in car?" Boss, whatever the salary which I get, like, and I just spend a little and then I put it in the markets. Okay. And in 2006-7, you would have seen the biggest bull run which was happening, especially in the real estate sector and so on. So he made tons of money and he was having a luxury life. That really pushed me. Okay, if someone can invest in stocks, you will be able to make money. Without even any knowledge, just a word which has been coming from a subordinate, I also ventured into the market. By the time we entered the initial investment, whatever that I've been doing it, I told my wife, like, and we will invest a small amount. I think that can grow in big numbers. Okay. And whatever the dream house which we are thinking about buying it, it'll be easy for us to do it. But within a year, I was able to understand market is not going to be an easy job because slowly I was starting to average my positions, whatever the holding which I was having it. From 1 lakh, my portfolio size went to 10 lakh. Right. But that during the Satyam Saga and the Lehman crisis, the portfolio crashed almost to 1 lakh.
It's 2008 that was.
Exactly. Okay. So 2008-9, it completely crashed. Right. That's when I realized it's not going to be an easy job. Not only me, even the friend whom he brought me into the market, he also had a bad time during that. Even he never faced that kind of a scenario in the past. So we both felt that, okay, investing is not going to be our cup of tea. And whatever the money which we lost, we thought it'll be easy for us to recover in the F&O space because those days we used to get 40x, 50x margin and a lot of exposure. So we thought getting into the F&O space will be easy job to get that money back. Right. Then we understood that's like a different animal altogether, wherein when you're entering into the F&O, here at least you can hold the stock, which will be there in your name, and it can go anytime in the future as well. But there, like in within the expiry, if the like in respective stocks or the options which you hold, if it is not in your favor, the time value and the theta, everything takes care of it, and you will be literally sitting zero value. Correct. So this is what has happened, and that's where my trading and the investing journey started actually in 2007-8. Yes.
Right. So after being a trader for so long, I believe you currently have two products, which is one is OI Pulse and one is One Click. So what led you to eventually create these products in the market?
Okay, so yes, as a trader, you go through all the cycle. Okay, as like in a trader, I have been trying to do various kind of trading in terms of intraday, positional. I would have done it in stock futures, stock options and everything. Then later on, I understood any position which I'm holding beyond 20, 30 minutes, I'm not comfortable. Then I realized, okay, Shiva, if you're buying something and if you're holding your losing position, you needed to also hold your winning position, which you're not able to do it. Then why don't you stick to a smaller time frame? If you're buying and selling within 3 or 5 minutes, then do that for both profit and loss. Then later on, I realized whatever the method which I'm doing, it is called as scalping. That means I needed to quickly enter, exit.
Okay.
So as a scalper, I needed to enter and exit. For that, I needed to take a quick decision. So to take a quick decision, you needed to have all the data in front of you in live, in real market time,
Right.
so that you will be able to take a quick decision. Because if you're seeing a delayed data, you will obviously miss the entire move, and then you will buy it at the top or you will buy it at the bottom, and then you will get regret.
Right.
So in that scenario, I was looking for various tools wherein whether the kind of a data is available. There are certain data which I wanted it in a unique format, which was not available in the market. And at the time, we were also using the NSE portal, the old one. So NSE old portal used to provide like a 3-minute delay data. That's like in a freely available data. So it was a 3-minute delay data. But when they moved into the new website, the way the UI and then the contracts instead of the lots, they changed into contracts and so on, which I was not comfortable. Then I realized, okay, so let me go and explore a way wherein is there any other tool which is available. The tools which were available in the market were not so convincing to me. Then I thought, why don't we build our own tool? That's how the OI Pulse came into the picture. We
Right.
thought initially it was supposed to be a small OI tool just for my personal use. When I showcased it to a couple of people, they asked like, Shiva, you can't just keep it with yourself. It has to be made it into commercial.
Okay.
That's when we went into commercial, formed the entity. Then we got the OI Pulse into the picture. We initially had 5 to 10 features when we launched 3-4 years back. But now it has close to 80 odd features.
That's
and
incredible.
and every month at least we try to add 1 or 2 new features. And in the upcoming months, we might add 10 or 15 more features before the new year.
That's really great. But at that point, what you said, NSC's website had a 3-minute lag. So
Right.
for scalpers like you, it would have been so difficult to
Exactly,
even
because
execute.
we normally as a scalper, my trade timings would be within a minute.
Yeah.
So I needed at least a 1-minute data, so see the data and then take my trading decisions. That's when we started providing the 1-minute feed on the portal.
So how did you manage at that point? Did you start as a scalper or did you resort to some other strategy
No,
at
like
that point?
normally I try to hold it for 30-40 minutes and other things. But once you know that the data is available right in front of you, and when you're able to take a quick trading decision, and most importantly, when the results are also in right in front of you.
Right.
Imagine I take a position at 960, 917. And by 918, if the market has moved in your favor, I try to quickly trail and exit with profits. So those are the things which has helped me when we have our own product with whatever the limitations which we had earlier, we were able to overcome all those.
Okay. So talking about your product, what is one interesting project that you're currently working on?
Okay. So on that line, after OA Pulse, we came up with one click. One click, again, it is the same scenario. Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay, so OI Pulse came into the picture. Next, one click. Pure reason is we had Nest is my favorite platform in terms of trading. There was a talk which was happening that Nest is like in changing owners and it is going to be like in moved out of India. Most of the brokers are not going to support Nest. In fact, several brokers have discontinued Nest. And that's when I felt, okay, Nest, if the Nest platform goes out, I don't think any other platform is comfortable for me. Then I said, like, why don't we build our own platform which can scatter to the scalpers, which will be integrated with various brokers using the API, and then we will be able to trade. That's when one click came into the picture. With one click, a trader doesn't need to install any application or anything. It's a web-based platform. They can trade from any parts of the world and seamlessly on a web browser. It can be an Android or a Mac. It doesn't matter. You will be able to trade. And with that, we have also taken the gaming to the next level in terms of the trading. So what we have currently done is we have run with a gaming console, which we have converted into a trading console. So this particular idea came in when my kid was playing around with like in a Nintendo Switch, and he was playing with the Minecraft and Fortnite. So he was playing with the virtual money. We play with the real money. He is playing with the virtual money. Then I asked him, "What do you do?" So we try to go look for they try to look for a survival in a particular 100 people, and they have to survive so that they win that particular game. So it's again the same way in trading. We also fight with 100 odd people. At the end of the day, as per the SEBI report, exactly, we have only one winner out of the 10 people. We have only one person who has been in the top. Then I realized, okay, what if these young kids who have been playing in this kind of an environment, what if I give them a real trading console, which will be similar to the gaming console, wherein they will be able to buy, sell, and everything at ease the way they use it in the joystick. If they wanted to do trading in the real time, they will be able to do trading. If they wanted to switch from trading to gaming, they will also be able to do
That's
it.
very interesting.
And most importantly, you needed to adapt. We cannot be having the same old approach saying that, no, this cannot be used for this and other things. When innovation is taking place the way it is, the digital transformation is happening in the way it is in the last few years,
you have to
we
change with
exactly.
time.
And when there is a technology available, why don't we use it? And since the day we have been testing in the last 3 months, especially with the trading console, it has received mass response. Wherever we have showcased it as, even here, like in every trader in the family have looked at it, and even PJ liked the idea of what we have done. And I'm pretty sure, like in the next 3 months, when we make it commercial, many traders were going to have that. Once you start using it, you will know why we launched that particular product. And I'm pretty sure most of
it's a great idea. And more than that, it's quite portable, right? You
Absolutely.
can, wherever you go, you can carry it with yourself.
Carry it. So, any part of the world, you will be able to do it. You don't require, and you will be able to see the charts, the data analysis, everything, and quickly switch from one broker to another. And you will also be able to take
quite handy. That's true. That's true. So we've spoken about scalping, but I'm pretty sure there are some users currently watching this podcast, and they might not know what scalping exactly is.
Okay.
So yeah, could you just explain in simple words?
Okay, I'll tell you a simple term. There is a difference between a normal trader and a scalper. What is a normal trader? Someone who buys it at 100 rupees, he will look for a target of 130 or 150. Right. So for that, the price to move from 100 to 130 or 150, it will take a momentum. And it might take some like in 1 hour or 2 hours. Based on the market moves, it might go there. Right. There are days wherein the market doesn't move anywhere apart from like in just hovering near to the VWAP. In those cases, the premiums will get killed because of the time value and the theta. So normally from 100, it goes to 110, 120 and comes back to 100. Again to 110 and goes to 90. So from 90, it's a zigzag move. In those cases, a positional trader may not be able to win the trade if he is looking for 100 to 150. Right. Whereas as a scalper, what we will be able to do, when we know that the moves are going to be zigzag, we can just always go in and buy it at 100. Once it goes to 110, we'll book our profits. Again, when it comes to 105, we will again buy it. Once it goes to 115, we will book it. Rather than holding our trades for one good trade for 50 points, we will make 3 or 4 trades to capture the 30 or 40 points.
In very short time.
Exactly. The advantages will still be able to make some money. But the disadvantages, yes, we may be paying higher transaction cost and the brokerage cost on that front. But if you're looking at it, my winning ratio will be much higher. And at the same time, I will not have the pressure of holding my trades for a longer period, thinking whether it will go in my favor or not. Imagine if the trade doesn't go in the positional player. At the end of the day, you will lose in a stop loss category. It might go and hit his 90 rupees stop loss or 80 rupees stop loss. For whatever the time which you would have spent, you will be regretting, I should have booked the profit at when it went to 120. So normally a scalper is someone who enters looking at various data parameters, takes a quick decision, enters and exit within 3 to 5 minutes, maximum 15 minutes. Once you start holding your position beyond 15, then you become a positional player.
So it's not possible to be an algorithmic trader when it comes to scalping? Is it all manual or do you have some automation?
We do have some automation, but in terms of in scalping, it's more of a discretionary, because there are places wherein I would take a sudden arbitrage trade based on the move. Somewhere in the RSI would have been extremely sold based on the futures. Then I will try to quickly take a trade wherein I can go and buy some calls because market would have been extremely oversold. There would be a quick bounce of 15-20 points. Right. These are things wherein the algo may not be able to decide. Provided, yes, if we have the right strategies developed and nothing, it can. But as a manual trader, especially looking at all the arbitrage opportunities, scalper will have more say in terms of getting those areas covered. Okay, that is the advantage of being a scalper. And if you needed to be a real quick thinker and most importantly an execution in the platform. That's where the one click is going to help a lot of traders.
I'm sure that muscle memory is already there
absolutely.
At this point.
And I'm not going to say scalping is easy. Many people think that, okay, just because Shiva is doing scalping, I'll also try it. It has personal attribute. I may be a scalper. Doesn't mean like I can ask Sanjana to be a scalper. You will have like a different mindset wherein you will try to become like a positional player. Or you will
Right.
say, Shiva, I can buy it in the morning and I know my levels and I know what is my risk appetite and I can hold it till the next day or the following day. There are traders who buy options and hold it for months together. There are traders who sell options and hold it for months together. But
So
as
it
a
differs.
buyer, it's like it varies from person to person.
So what is your strategy if you had to explain in simple words in FNO?
The simple strategy which I like, for me, the two favorite strategies which I normally use is one is the opening trade strategy based on all the data points which I collect by evening, and then how the US markets open and the futures will open in the morning, and then Asian markets perform. I normally go for the opening trade at 9:15. 90% of the time when I close my positions at 9:18, 80% of the time I would have been in profit. 20%, yes, I would be in a loss, but that I will be deploying only 5 to 10% of my capital. So morning trade, I normally go for this. And then my other setup is the two candle theory, which I invented in 2016. So when all the parameters, which I covered it in Upsurge.club session as well, probably users will be able to find it useful.
True.
So the two candle theory is something which is very close to my heart. Whenever there is a breakout happening, we normally look for an opportunity to go and search, chase the breakout. And there are in case if I'm missing the two candle, I'll still be able to get in support trade at the super trend and the VWAP. So there are three opportunities which is available for a trader once the two candle theory is getting formed.
So these are the tools and indicators that you use in your strategies.
Exactly. So when I talk about the tools and indicators, I use simple indicators like VWAP, WMA, super trend, parabolic SAR, RSI, and the volume. So in terms of the open interest, that gives me the big lead up along with all these indicators.
Got it. So guys, we are going to attach the link to the course of scalping, which is curated by Mr. Siva, and you can check it out. So talking about trading, how do you exactly manage your risk and how do you protect your capital?
Okay, this is going to be a very important area. Earlier, there was a scenario. Okay, as a scalper, you tend to win almost 10 to 15 days. Okay, so you will on a winning run, you will be on a winning streak. One fine day, the market will completely change the pattern. Every day you would have bought it, and then the market would have moved higher, and you would book the profit. And there will be a second day, again the market will dip, you will buy, the market will move. Market will make you into a pattern, and it will make you feel like in a habit. Every day I'm going to be coming here, you buy it, and I'll give you profit. So in 5 days, if you make money, you will 6 days, you will feel that today also the market is falling, I'm going to buy it. On that particular day, the market will fall more. But you will say, I think yesterday also it recovered, let me buy more. Whatever the capital, overconfident. Every day I would have deployed only 20 or 30%. On that particular day, you would go ahead and average all your capital, which will be 100% of your capital. That particular day, the market will never reverse. And your mind will get frozen. It was supposed to reverse from here. Why it is not happening? You will start to panic. And the loss will also be right in front of you. You will not book your loss. By the time you realize the loss will be 30-40% of your capital, then you will be starting to think, oh no, now I almost lost 40%. Let me hold my position. Then where you will cut your losses, it will almost be 80 or 90%. Then you will cut your losses. By the time you realize, it would have gone. That's when I realized, no, this kind of a thing which cannot work. What are the things which I developed to avoid all this? First and foremost, don't put all eggs in one basket. Try to split your funds. Imagine you have 10 lakhs. Keep 2 lakhs in each account, 5 accounts, so that even in worst case scenario, you cannot lose beyond 20% overall capital. Because our monkey mind will someday say, Shiva, you hold your positions, average as much as possible. Worst case, you will still hold only in one account wherein you can maximum lose 2 lakh. The next thing, what I have done is, to get a positive mindset, I used a stop loss strategy. What is that? I used my previous day profit as a stop loss for my opening trade and for my intraday trade. So that really helped me. Imagine if I wanted to protect my capital and if I'm risking only my previous day profit, then it helps. Because when you're starting the morning, you're thinking that, Shiva, yesterday you made around 10,000. You can use the 10,000 as a stop loss. Then automatically you will not be under any pressure and you will be able to trade with free till this 10,000. So you can set your stop loss at also 10,000.
That's a really good
Exactly. And then what I did is, once we make money in the morning, then protect your previous day profit. Not only you're protecting your capital, you're also protecting your previous day profit. Then in that scenario, you're making some money today, then use that money as a stop loss for the remainder of the day. That way, your capital will be protected. Yes, there will be question, Shiva, what if your previous day is a loss?
Yeah.
Then normally what I try to do is use 10% of the deployed capital as a stop loss. Imagine if I'm deploying around 20%, out of the 20%, the maximum it will come to around 0.5 to 1% on overall capital.
Okay.
So that is still manageable. As a trader, as a buyer especially, if your like losses is under 2 to 3% or 5% maximum, still it will be manageable. But only when it exceeds 15, 20 and 25%, it's going to be very difficult
And
to
you
manage.
start to panic and lose confidence in the next trade.
That,
So that's
like
natural.
even the experienced players will have all these problems even after several years of trading.
Yeah.
They all go through that, including me.
On that cue, you were just mentioning how trading psychology is one of the most important factors when it comes to intraday or positional trades.
True.
So, what are the things that you make sure of when to keep your emotions in check while
The
trading?
most important aspect is, yes, strategies, all these indicators, everything can work only if you have the right mindset. Without the proper mindset, without the positive attitude, if you're approaching the market, none can work. First and foremost thing, never come into the market, especially trading, to run your family or to get a passive income. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Trading is something wherein if you feel that like I have made money and I have money which I can afford to lose, bring that money to the market, then you will be able to play risk free. Even if you lose this 1 or 2 lakh, it should not pinch your pocket or it should not pinch your family, wherein they should not be thinking that this guy is losing money now, what will happen to our future and other thing.
Right.
Many people who come to trading, when they ask me, Shiva, like, can I become a full-time trader after 6 months of journey? No, don't do that. So if you are having a consistent run, at least you should see 2 bull run and 2 bear run, and you should also see a consolidating market before you even think about getting into full time. Even if you are thinking about full time, see whether for the next 5 years, even you don't make single penny from the market, whether your family and everybody will be able to manage it without anything. And one more thing, if trading doesn't work for you, will you be able to go back to the job, whatever that you have been doing it? Think about that. We cannot think that, no, I've come into trading and I'm going to live here. Yes, you can. But what if you're not able to meet your ends meet? We needed to have a backup plan. So always plan A, plan B should be there. That's very important if you're thinking about all this. In terms of personal experience, luckily for me, not only like in trading, I was like in managing other businesses. Always try to have secondary and tertiary income, which can help you. Don't think about making trading as a primary income. So that's where the big mistakes most of the traders lose. And yes, trading is not going to be like in a single day journey. What I have witnessed, more the number of years you give it to the market, it's like in a raw diamond which you're giving it. You are a raw diamond.
Yeah.
More the number of years, it will just polish you, make it into like an 18 carat or 20 carat or 22 carat. It's all again depends upon how many years you're going to be there in the market.
Right. Makes sense. So while in pre-market hours, how do you track what things do you consider, what factors come to play when you're in the market trading?
Okay, especially in the pre-market, so morning my routine is like at least go look at the global markets and everything. So how the US market closed last night, how the European markets fared, and how the Asian markets are opened and what they are doing. And is there any news which has come in last night to now? That there might be like a Fed policy announcement which would have come in, or any results of the companies would have been got announced post market hours, or IIP numbers or the inflation data would have come in. So we needed to look at all these data points, get ourselves prepared. There are days wherein you would have seen our market would have closed in the positive, and US futures will also be closing in the positive at 3:30. But once our market closed, there would have been few data points which would have come. Say, for example, the US payroll data, or the bond yields, or the inflation numbers. All this will have a major impact on their bond yields and dollar index and everything. Once those guys starting to go higher, automatically you will see the gift nifty going lower and lower, the Dow futures going lower and lower. So anyone who would have been carrying an overnight position on the long side, they all will start to panic. So if you're not comfortable taking an overnight position, and if you're going to constantly look at what is going to be happening through the night, then you should not even be carrying a position. So I look at all these data points. As a scalper, I don't need to be worried because I'm not going to be carrying a position. Whether it is a bull market or a bear market, we just need a market which can give me volatility and the moves. If that is available, I just needed to get in and get out with whatever like in limited points which I wanted to win and then make money. So rather than winning the complete war, I just look to win the battles. That's what we do.
So you have long working hours as a trader, is what I gather from your.
Yes, as a scalper, you needed to sit in the system. But good thing is you don't needed to trade all the candles. You're just going to be waiting for it. There are days wherein my trade would be done by 10 o'clock. There are days I would have waited till 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So, but 90% of the time, as a scalper, my target would be achieved by the morning. But you also needed to set a target for yourself. Just because the candles are available between 9:30, 9:15 to 3:30 doesn't mean we needed to trade the whole day. Then we would have been an employee or working in an organization.
Then
so
it would have just been a 9 to 5.
Exactly. The reason why you became a full-time trader, you want independence.
Correct.
So you wanted to play for yourself whenever you wanted to do it. So in that scenario, don't restrict yourself to say that you needed to be there doing trading all through the day. If your target is achieved, be it profit or loss, close the day, move on to the next task. The reason we were able to build products is I was able to focus on scalping in the morning. Then once the scalping is done, I will try to focus on the company. What are the next things which we can do? So as you asked me, like apart from OI Pulse and One Click, the trading console is coming in, and we are also working on an interesting project. What is if I give you all an application?
Okay.
You just say like an Alexa, just buy this call, just buy this put and close this position. Rather than you go punching in another thing.
That's the next big thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the next big thing which we are working on. Hopefully you guys will get to hear that from us.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. So Shiva, how much do you think India's market is dependent on foreign markets? In the sense that there was a huge conflict right now, Israel war. So how do you think it impacted India, and did it impact your trading strategy in any way?
So in terms of our market, not only our markets, across the global markets, every market is interlinked. Earlier, yes, we were not having a lot of trade moves and other things. Maybe it might be the barter system. But now with so much of imports and exports, say for example, we export a lot of softwares and garments and other things to US and other Arabian countries and every country. And in terms of what we import the gold, we import the crude. Crude is like playing a major factor. Right. So while our market were like underperforming due to this Middle East crisis, purely because what if the crude cost goes up, automatically it will have an impact on our inflation because the prices tends to go up. Once the inflation goes up, you automatically expect the prices also to go up on the transportation and everything. Once that goes up, the RBI will not have any other choice other than to hike the interest rate. Once the interest rate is high, automatically it will have a repercussion in terms of all the people saying like, should we go for the home loan and other thing? They will delay it because the interest rates will go high.
So that's the case right now, right? The US government.
We may not be like seeing the exact scenario. It is like we are in a threshold. Nobody is knowing whether this is going to lead to the next level of war or whether there is going to be a ceasefire announcement and these guys are going to calm down a bit. Okay. In the last 2 days, at least, the way the FOMC has been speaking, the way the crude and then the dollar index has been suggesting, it's not spiking, but anything could happen. That's how the market, it's all about the sentiment. And even if you look at the last 2 days, the way the market action has been, in spite of the global markets performing very well, after the gap up, our markets is not able to move beyond. There is still a little bit of a doubt happening in our markets to know whether this issue is going to get resolved or should we still hang in the limbo. And one more thing, in domestic front, we are also having elections which is happening in 4 or 5 states, which will also have a say.
That will have a
huge impact because it is going to be lead up to the general elections. So people are normally going to be expecting the ruling party to come on power so that they know the continuity is going to be there. Always market likes the continuity. If there is going to be any untoward incidents on those, then the market may not like it. Though even in the past, these elections have not mattered much. The market just react for a day or two and then they go back to that. The same goes with the company results as well. There are companies which would have posted a bad result. But if I believe that company in the long term, normally I try to use that opportunity as a buying opportunity, buy it and then hold it for a long term. Similar thing can also be happening. Yes, market has been rallying a lot. We can expect some correction. And whenever we see there is an euphoria across everywhere, everybody saying India is going to be the growth and other thing. Yes, India is going to be the growth story, but the market needed to fool some people who doesn't have the patience to hold it for long term. That's
so
how the
because
market
you mentioned the next decade is India's, What is your take on that whole story, India's growth story?
Absolutely, because every 20, 30 years or 40 years, you would have seen countries move from one. Earlier, it used to be US, then Japan, then the
Right.
European countries like Germany, France, and England took it over. Then came the period wherein the China literally took it. Now it is a period wherein you see some of the smaller emerging economies taking it, and one such as India. You're like if you're looking at it, Vietnam is another interesting option.
Correct.
South Korea has picked up a lot. These guys are the ones who are pushing it. But India, we have an young generation. Our average age group is less than
Our
40.
demographic is the main-
Exactly. And the good thing is, only country wherein you have plenty of youth who are technologically advanced, and the way the digital transformation which has happened in the last few years is definitely going to be an added advantage for a country like India. And if you look at the top 10 global corporations which is residing either in US or in other countries, most of the CEOs are from India's. So this you can consider it as going to be like an India's decade. So till probably 2030 to 50, we'll be the ones who can rule it, provided we have right balance and to take it forward. We needed to support not only our India growth story, we also needed to look at how we can help other countries also to grow, because India has been a country wherein we just needed to not internally move, we also coordinate externally as well and take this growth forward.
Interesting. So most of our users are the ones who have just entered the stock markets. So what would your advice be to them
I
when
wouldn't
they're
say like,
starting out?
yeah, I wouldn't say it as an advice. Whatever the things which we have shared, even in whatever the sessions which we have been doing, the primary reason I have been doing is I have faced certain roadblocks in the last 15 years of my journey. Imagine if I share the journey with you, you will be able to not commit the mistakes what Shiva has done. That is exactly the key point which I'm going to be saying it. So I'm telling you, these are the things wherein if you touch this fire, I already got my finger burnt, don't touch it. But if you feel, no, Shiva, like you are lying, let me go and touch it and see myself. Then you will feel that Shiva, like I should have listened to you. It is really like exactly. So all I'm trying to do is I'm reducing your learning curve. When I'm trying to reduce your learning curve, whatever the 15 years of my hard work, you will maybe not spend that much time. Maybe your learning curve would reduce drastically by 5-6 years. But still, you needed to go through with the experience and other things. As a trader, the biggest a mistake which we did is in the initial part of the years, without even knowing much of knowledge about the F&O markets, we started to play with the large capital. And our consistency was haywire. Once you started losing it, you will always be in the mindset of recovering the loss. Money gone in the markets is gone. So never look back. It's like you earning a salary and end of the month you're spending on something, either be a EMI or the home rent or like in movies or buying some clothes for you. The money gone. Are you going back to the same store? Exactly. You can't regret. And are you going back to the same store? Give me my money back? No. The same thing in markets as well. If you lost your money, forget about it. And the most important thing, don't make the mistake of putting a large capital in the initial years. At least for a few years, try with one lot, two lots, get the consistency going, see all kind of market scenarios. Market works in a pattern. Say, for example, 2 weeks it will give you the reward as a buyer, 2 weeks it will give you a reward as a seller, then it will be a straddle player, then it will be for the overnight players. You should see all kind of markets and see which market suits you. Play only when the market is following and make sure that the setup is working for you. And wait for the setup to come to you rather than you chase. Exactly. There will be in several buses which will be going through the route. And you needed to choose the bus which you wanted to get in to the destination rather than getting in every bus and getting lost somewhere.
That's something I'll take with me. Nice. Many people say that, in today's time, they say don't time the market. It's useless. You should just focus on long-term investing. Why trade and all of that? So, do you have some of your portfolio which is allocated to long-term stocks or companies that you find are going to be the next growth in India?
Okay. So I'm basically a person who is more of a trader. When you're talking to a trader, we normally don't try to go and make some investment decisions or nothing. Yes, but in terms of my portfolio, I normally try to go and look for Nifty 50 stocks, the top ones. I don't try to go for the small cap or the mid caps, which I try to avoid.
Right.
And the most important one, if I know that there is going to be a growth story, I focus on the ETFs and then the Nifty Bs, like in Bank Nifty Bs.
So
And
passive funds.
passive funds is always going to be a safe bet.
Right. Makes sense.
And as you said, don't time the markets. For any correction which is happening, my thinking is, if there is a 5% correction, I deploy 5% of my capital in the market. 10% correction, deploy
Yeah, you
10%. So
mentioned.
every 5 to
Yes.
10% or 20%, you keep deploying it. If you have this fund and this is not going to be touched by you for the next 5-10 years, keep accumulating it. And periodically just check the stocks in which you have invested and see whether it is performing in the best trend and in the worst trend. A stock which is not falling in spite of the best trend, I will continue to average my position.
Okay.
A stock which is not working good even in the best trend, better to pull it out of the portfolio and then move it to the other ones.
Yeah.
So don't try to hold the stock which has not been performing. Instead, try to hold the ones which is giving you the winners.
Actually, that's true. So there was a recent economist, I think, he said that people these days are going for hot IPOs and, entertainment stocks is what he used the word. Go for boring companies which have, long-term growth is what he mentioned.
It may be true. One way, if you look at it, in the last every 30 years, if you see a particular company which has worked in the last bull run may not be finding any place in the next bull run.
Right.
Anything which was there in 2006 to 2008, if you go and look at it, none of the companies have rallied in the next cycle. So most of the real estate are ones in whatever the DLFs and everything, which rallied from 200 to 2000 and so on.
Yeah.
But next 10-15 years, they all became lull. Which are the ones which perform? All the mid-cap ITs, the large-cap
Right.
ITs, and the swarm of the small caps.
Traditional business.
Exactly. Traditional business. The safest bet will be like some of the FMCGs and so on. Those are always going to be, because India is a consuming country.
Yeah.
So we are consumer oriented. So anything related to that, it'll always going to be there in the demand.
Right.
And you would see all these consumer demand companies always been in the growth story. So those are the stocks which I would definitely look at for my portfolio. And best thing is, don't try to time it. Please continue to have a sip. But if you really feel that there are going to be a lag and there are an overbought territory and other things, take a pass and then you can always decide later.
So thank you so much for doing this again, Siva. This
Thanks.
was very insightful and I am hoping that all of you also found it insightful. So any last words that you want to share to our audience?
Thanks guys. Thanks Sanjana and the entire Upsurge team. You guys have been great for the past few days. And looking forward for more such courses and lovely content which you guys have been creating for all the young users. Guys, make use of all these podcasts and whatever the series that they have been doing it. I hope you all find good knowledge using all these things. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.